Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are learning awesome. So today we are diving into a key software architecture, which is your cross-cutting concern. So in this video, we'll talk about what are they, why they matter with the help of your real-world example. So in this video, we'll also cover the most common questions around them. Okay, so let me quickly share my screen and see you there. I hope my screen is visible. So understanding cross-cutting concerns in software architecture. Okay, so what are cross-cutting concerns? Mm, okay, imagine an example where you are just building your order service. Okay, let me write down here parallelly. So suppose we are building. Oh, let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, and we can probably remove this. Yeah. Okay. So suppose you are building your order service and there could be your payment service, and on the top of that you may have your user service. Okay, so just ask yourself, yeah, I'm not talking about me, just ask yourself, do you need inside these services like your logging, could be your caching, mhm, could be your authentication, could be your authorization, auth/auth, which is your authentication and your authorization. Just ask yourself, right? Yes, we need these all things inside these all applications, all these all services, or these all layers. So that's what we call cross-cutting concerns, which basically require inside each of our layer, but writing inside each layer, which will lead to your code duplicacy. Like we have to write redundant code inside each service, and that is also your tight coupling. So we don't follow that approach, like we have to write everything inside each layer. So that's why where we have a concept called cross cutting concerns, where some of the common functionalities like your logging, caching, basic caching, not entire basic caching, authentication, authorization, or your auditing, your service discovery, and some of the things we can keep inside your as a cross cutting concerns. Okay, so what are the examples of cross-cutting concerns? Like as you can see here, we have the logging. Like inside logging, what you can do, you can capture like what's happening inside your app. You can log here. Next could be your authentication, authorization, like who are you, what you can do inside your application. Okay, so your authentication, authorization, and your like store for the caching, you can say storing the frequently accessed data, you can store inside your cache. And the next is your rate limiting, so preventing abuse by if someone is just trying or you can just prevent from your DDoS attack and all those. And next is your exception handling, you can handle some of the exceptions inside your cross-cutting concerns. On, I would say, you can define some generic exceptions there or your custom exceptions there, and you can just override some of the methods and you can just call them. Okay, and then your metrics and monitoring, so this is for your tracking and observability of your application. Okay, so these are some of the, I would say, the examples of your cross-cutting concerns. And okay, now we know what are cross-cutting concerns and their examples. So how to handle them? Yeah, that's a great question, I would say. like okay, so how to handle them? So you can handle them by multiple ways, or there could be a couple of ways to manage them. But like in your I would say the monolithic architecture, we generally use your AOP, aspect oriented programming. And in your microservice architecture, we use the API gateway. So inside like API gateway, which is the single entry point for your services, or for like if I tell you more about, suppose this is your client. Okay. And here you have configured your API gateway, and some things you can keep here, not all the things, which means I'm here talking about your cross-cutting concerns. Like inside API gateway, you can just keep your logging, basic caching, and your authentication, authorization, and your rate limiting, your service discovery, and those all things. Some of the functionality you can keep inside your API gateway. Okay. And then there could be your like the other services, like the one, two, three, or there could be any number of services. And here probably you would have one database, or there could be multiple database, or there could be multiple databases with each of your like service. Okay. So this is the high level, like you can, I believe you can, where is yeah, laser. So there is this is the flow and client, and this is the like bi-directional they are communicating. And same for, there could be like for each microservice there is a different specific databases and they are communicating. So this is your API gateway. So here you can just keep some of the basic functionalities of your cross-cutting concerns you can keep here. Okay. So let's move further. So what should API gateway handle? I would say your API gateway should handle your uh, you can keep your logging there, your request transformation, request response transformation you can keep there, caching, basic caching you can keep there, your exception handling, your rate limiting, or your circuit breaker. But do not everything just keep inside your API gateway. Something I have written in very small words here. But remember, not everything should be offloaded to the API gateway. Exactly. You do not have to push everything to the API gateway, because there are only few things that you have to keep there. Make sure your business logic is you are just keeping your business logic inside the business layer, not in the API gateway. API gateway is not the place to handle your business logics or the business validations. Okay. So just give me a sec. Let me throw this tea bag. Okay. So So next, why not push everything to the gateway? Yeah. So it's like because some things are contextual. So contextual here means like if you have your business validations, so that you will not put inside your gateway, that must be specific to your business layers. But like whether user have the edit right to that particular like, or they have rights to call that particular service or the layer. Okay. There could be like your domain specific validations that you have to keep inside your domain layer, so that you cannot just keep inside your API gateway. The API gateway purpose is very different. Okay. So not push your everything to the API gateway, like your specific, I would say the validations or business logic and their business validations, just keep apart from your API gateway, keep inside their dedicated layer. Okay. So yeah. So So these are the some of the like most common questions that you will see around your API gateway or your cross-cutting concern. So I don't know whether I know all the answers or not, but I just keep all these questions. So I'll try to answer, but if I not, so you have to answer those questions. Even though you have to answer all the questions, just read the question and drop your answers in the comment box. I would love to see your answers in the comment box, and I would really love to know your thoughts on these questions. Okay. So can we push all security to the API gateway? The answer is, according to me, it's no. We cannot push all the security to the API gateway because the basic, like the authentication, whether the credentials are valid or not, or the authorization to the one of the endpoint, we can just keep there. But the entire security that for our application should be implemented in these specific layers as well. We cannot totally keep all our securities inside the API gateways. If you know a better answer for this, just drop in the chat. Okay. So what tools implement AOP? So for the aspect-oriented programming, I would say for Java, you can use Spring AOP. You can use the Spring AOP starter, and you can implement that aspects in the classes, and you can use that. And for the if I talk about the .NET C Sharp, then you can use your middlewares for that, and middleware attributes or filters you can use for AOP. Not exactly filters, but yeah, you can use middleware or attributes. So the next question is, do monoliths have cross-cutting concerns too? So yeah, in monoliths you can have cross-cutting concerns, and that could you can just keep centralized for your entire for the entire application. What you can do, you can use the middlewares, and you can inject that middleware inside your request pipeline. So each request will go through with your that particular middleware, and for that you can what you can do, you can create a class library and inject that as a middleware. You can reference the project, and you can do with that. Here this was specific to your C sharp .net. Okay. So isn't adding all logic to API gateway a single point of failure? Yes, absolutely. If you will add entire logic to the API gateway, so the single point of failure could be there could be a couple of reasons for the single point of failure. That could be your if you are just pushing all the things inside your API gateway, and and API gateway is not able to handle all that load. That could be the reason. And one more thing, like we generally don't deploy a single instance of the API gateway. There are some redundant or the multiple instance of your API gateway. So if one goes down, so with the help of load balancers, we just reroute or redirect the traffic to the health instance. Okay, but that's a totally different story how that works and all those. But yeah, there could be a single point of failure. So the next is, what if I don't use an API gateway? What if you don't use so okay. So if you don't use an API gateway, then probably you have to write the logging and your caching and your basic authentication authorization inside each of the service. So that will lead to your code duplicacy and your tight coupling. So I would say don't do that. Use your centralized approach. That could be your API gateway or your AOP. So that would help you to like manage your code on a single place. So yeah. So I would love to read your answers in the chat box or the comment box. So please do add your answers as well. So I'll also learn from your answers if I've missed anything. So don't forget to add your answers in the chat box. So yeah, that's all for this video. Uh, I hope you liked this video. If you found this video useful or helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, or share. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning, keep growing. Bye bye.